Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on building your digital footprint. My name is Naomi Farrelly and I'll be your presenter today. This webinar is part of the webinar series Sparrowly Group delivers under its Build Better Business program. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the lands on which we all work today and the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people participating in this session. I would like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Some housekeeping before we begin. The session will be recorded and the resources will be shared at the end of the session. We welcome you to revisit the recording yourself and share it with your colleagues. If you've got any questions throughout the session, please pop them in the Q&A box, which you can see at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and we'll go through these at the end of the webinar. If you're having any technical issues, please use the chat box and Fed will respond to you directly. We don't have long, so let's get started. So you can focus on the content. I'm going to turn off my video. So what are we going to talk about today? We're covering three key things. What is your digital footprint? How your customers are using the internet, and how you can grow your digital footprint to be found by customers online. So firstly, what is your digital footprint? Essentially, it's the information about your business that exists on the internet as a result of online activity. Everything from your website to social media, map listings and reviews, any online content about your business. If you think about it, it's a bit like a web. Your website sits in the middle of your digital footprint and all other online activities should channel customers back to your website. It's your home base or the information hub for your business. Then we have activities which extend our reach and expand our web, which include social media. We know 80% of the population use social media. This includes Facebook, which has got 16 million users, Instagram with 11 million users in Australia, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. The key is to understand your customers and choose the platforms that they are on. Then there's business listing sites. So this includes free business listings through Google, which is linked to your Google map listing, which is important, and the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse. It also includes listings on, say, your local visitor information centre website and a range of other directory websites that are out there that are free and paid that you might want to consider for your business, like True Local and Local Search, or specialist sites like Wedshed for wedding businesses and Class Bento for workshops and classes. Reviews and review sites are important. In travel, we've got TripAdvisor, and customers can also leave reviews on Google business listings, Facebook business pages, Yelp, True Local, and other product review sites. For restaurants and cafes, there's sites like The Fork. Listings and mapping sites like Google Maps and Apple Maps are really important to help customers find your physical location. Blogs and articles, which could be on your site about other things to do in your destination, which is great for SEO, and we'll talk about that later, or written by other people or businesses that are relevant to your audience. For example, a travel writer or publication might post an article on 10 hot new travel destinations or fun family travel. Online booking platforms or third-party booking websites. For travel and tourism, this is sites like booking.com, expedia.com, Google Reserve, and other restaurant booking platforms, and sites like High Pages for tradies. Video content. Video is an increasingly powerful tool for communicating to your customers. YouTube is now the #1 social media platform in Australia with 20.5 million users, and 88% of internet users watch videos online. So video is really becoming an important part of your digital footprint. All of these things make up your digital footprint. There's others as well, but these are some of the key ones that we'll talk about today. Before we talk about how you should be using these platforms, let's talk a little about customers and how they're using the internet today. Understanding how your customers are using the internet will help you to decide where to focus your energy to create a unique digital footprint for your business. So for those of you that know Sparrowly Group, you know that we love data. So here's some of the some data on the growing use of the internet in Australia. We now spend on average 16 hours and 13 minutes online every day. It seems like a lot, but this also does include streaming entertainment. So 80% of the population are using social media, and 35% are using social media as that main source when they're discovering or researching brands. 97% are using traditional search engines, so these are still important, and 75% of people purchase products online, so that's a growing number. Importantly, 88% of traffic online in Australia is on a mobile device, and 36% of people have made a purchase online via their mobile device. And there's been a 22% increase in online purchases over the past year. Importantly for travel, it's really important to remember when we're thinking about our digital footprint is that a traveller will visit on average 22 sites over 9.5 research sessions when they're planning a trip. So they're using the internet a lot to research and plan their trips. And we know that internet usage is only going to continue to grow. So now's a really great time to review your footprint and think about your customers, how they're using the internet to research, plan and book, what their path to purchase is, and then think about how you can build a footprint that brings more customers to your door, both virtually and in real life. So to understand how our customers find us and make a purchase, we need to understand their path to purchase or their customer journey, which put simply is all the steps that your customers go through to get to that magical point of making a purchase, of booking your tour experience, booking their accommodation or buying a product online. Depending on your business type, the path may vary, but generally there are 5 stages. The first stage is dreaming. We're all dreamers, always thinking about places we want to go, things to do with our kids or our family, new experiences to have, things that we want to learn, or our next amazing escape. Online, in this stage, consumers are using social media, often Instagram and Facebook, for inspiration for travel destinations and experiences. They also use search engines and maybe reading online articles to gather ideas about where they might want to go and what they want to do. Then we move into the planning or the research phase, and we jump online and we start to research our options. We might use Google search or voice activated search these days as well. Social media, asking a question maybe in different Facebook groups. We might check out some different destination websites online and look at booking websites to see the range of accommodation and experiences that are available in a destination. Think about when you plan a trip away. You start by thinking about the type of experience that you want to have. So it could be a beach escape close to home, a country road trip with the family, or a luxury city break with great food and wine. You'll narrow it down to a few key destinations, then do some research to decide on where you go, what type of accommodation you want to stay in, and things to do while you're there. So the next phase is the booking phase. We've done our research and we start to actually make some bookings and lock some things in. We start to use destination and business websites, booking platforms and review sites, which are important to validate our choices. We start to make inquiries either via booking form, maybe we might use messenger chat, email. We could even go old-fashioned and pick up the phone. We make our choices and we book them in. The next phase is experiencing. So this is where the days come, you're on your trip, you've booked all the key things in, but we all love to explore and discover new things when we travel. So to help us in this stage, we're using mapping apps and social media to find things that are near me, or business websites in the destination as well. And most likely we're doing that on our phones. Then the final stage is sharing and remembering. So you've had an amazing trip and you want to tell your friends about it. Consumers might write a review or post pictures and videos on social media about their travels and the experiences that they've had. This inspires other people back in that dreaming phase and helps to validate their choices when they are planning and booking. The key to getting customers to share is to offer them a consistently great experience or service when they're with you in your business. So it's important to think about how you connect with your customers at each touch point on this path to purchase. Where are your customers looking for information online, and what platforms do you need to be visible on to make sure that they can find your business when they're looking? Think about where you're currently coming up and where you need to do some more work to enhance your footprint. Really understanding your customers and their path to purchase will help you to market in a more targeted and efficient way. So how can you build a digital footprint and be found? Let's talk about that and some simple things that you can do to expand your footprint. So firstly, your website is critical. It's your home base and the hub of all your information. With the rise of social media, I've worked with businesses who don't have a website, but instead have a strong social profile. Now, a strong social profile is important, don't get me wrong, but you still need a home base with content that you can control. It's somewhere to direct customers for more information to help them to research, plan, and book. There's a few key things that your website needs to be. It needs to be modern, easy to use, list all the necessary information that your customers are looking for, and importantly, be mobile responsive, remembering that 88% of all our traffic is on mobile devices. It also needs to have a good mix of high quality images and videos, ideally linked to your YouTube channel wherever possible. As part of the follow-up from today, there's a checklist on what makes a good website, but here are some of the key things to consider. How does it look? Is it mobile responsive? What technology does it have sitting behind it? How easy is it to use for both you and for the consumer? What sort of information does it have? Is it short, sharp, and snappy? Can the customer quickly find the answer to their questions and the information that they need? How current is the website? Websites aren't set and forget. You need to make sure your content is up to date, especially at the moment with the operating environment changing constantly. And what images and videos does it have? Do they really accurately reflect your business and your target customers? As well as having a fresh, modern, and easy to use website, you need to make sure that it is optimized for search engines. And this is called SEO, or search engine optimization. SEO is the process of maximizing the number of visitors to a particular website by working to make sure that the site appears high on the list of results returned by a search engine. Everything you do to build your digital footprint will help with your SEO, but there are some specific things that you can do in the back end of your website to improve your rankings. You should be able to do most of this yourself if you're proficient in using your website, or you can always ask your web developer to help you. Start by researching the keywords. That's the words that you would type into the Google search box. If you're thinking about your product or experience, what are the words that you would type in or your customers would type in when they were looking for something like you? Think about the search box, but also think about the phrases that you might be asking through voice search if you're asking, say, Siri or Alexa. If you were looking for something, it could be best breakfast near me, or family-friendly accommodation, or things to do in Newcastle, or gluten-free donuts. Just think about your business and those words that people would be typing in. Then you want to build these words and phrases into the content on your website. You want to have a mixture of both short and long form keywords and phrases as well. If you do get stuck on determining what keywords you should be using, there's lots of resources and tools online that can help you. We'll share some of them as part of the follow-up from today. Another acronym used alongside SEO is SEM, and that's search engine marketing. Search engine marketing refers to paid search marketing, a system where businesses pay Google to show their ads in the search results, so you rank up higher as an ad in those search results. Before exploring this avenue, you want to do as much free stuff and implement as many SEO principles as possible. So why do you need to optimize your site? A website that isn't optimized is like having a phone number that's not listed in the phone book, if you remember those. People can't find you. When you consider that there are around 400 million active websites in the world, you will want to do everything that you can to make sure yours is found easily by your customers. So next up, you need to get listed on some different sites to help to extend your reach even further. For all business, a Google My Business listing is essential. There's a number of industry-specific listing platforms that are available too, either free or paid, that you should be across. For tourism businesses, the Australian Tourism Data Warehouse is the most important, and all eligible tourism businesses should be listed on there. Listings really help to create that billboard effect for your business and drive business back to your site. Gives you more visibility across a range of different sites online. When you create your listing, it's really important that you are consistent in all your listings. Have the same information listed everywhere, that you know where you're listed so that you can easily update your listings. Use some really great imagery. Optimize the listing. So think about those keywords again and make sure you're building those into the copy and the content of your listing. Link them. So link them back to your website. That's important for your SEO, and keep them up to date. So setting up your Google My Business listing is one of the easiest ways to improve your digital footprint, and it's free. It's really going to help you to improve your rankings. If you do nothing else from the webinar today, please go and do this. Not only is it great for optimizing your presence, but it's also a great way to catch reviews, be found on Google Maps and help people find you, your physical business, to gather analytics and insights into your customers and how they're searching for you and how they're finding you as well. So it gives you lots of useful information. You'll receive a guide about this in the follow-up from today, which will take you through the steps of how to claim your listing or set up a listing if you need to set up a new one. But most importantly, you want to think about these things as you complete that listing. You want to fill in all of the details. Don't leave any sections blank. Fill in all the details as you set up the listing. Check your name, address, and phone number, and make sure that they're correct. You'd be surprised how often that they aren't, particularly the phone numbers, and that they're consistent across all the sites. Post images of your business and products, to put pictures up there as well. Include other social media links, so link to your Facebook and your Instagram. Get a YouTube account. It's really important for your videos, and add it to your listing. Google owns YouTube, and Google likes Google. So it's going to help with your search ranking. Make sure you verify your listing. This is really super important. Your listing doesn't come up until you've actually verified it. You need to do this step to make sure you get your listing published. If you're a tourism business with an ATDW listing, there's a new functionality which allows you to connect your ATDW listing with your Google listing so that updates from ATDW automatically flow through to your Google listing. It's going to save you a bit of time in updating listings across multiple platforms. And in addition to that, because ATDW is seen as a trusted source by Google, it lets Google know that you're a real and legitimate business. This really also helps with your SEO. We've worked with a number of businesses who are getting great web traffic from their ATDW listing because it's linked through to their Google listing. So it's really important, if you do nothing else from today, go and check out and make sure that your Google My Business listing is set up correctly. So the next thing we can do is amplify your online presence through social media. So when you choose your social media channels, you really want to go back to your customers and think about who your customers are, their path to purchase, and think about the platforms that your customers are using. Where are they hanging out? Importantly, though, through your social media activity, you also want to remember to drive visitors back to your home base, your website, as often as possible. And there's so many channels out there. The most common ones, depending on your customer segment, are going to be Facebook, which is a bit of an older demographic, and Instagram, which is a younger demographic. LinkedIn, if your customers are in the corporate market, and if you've got a really, really, really young demographic, TikTok could be the platform for you. So do some research and think about where your customers are and what platforms they're using. Also, don't forget YouTube for your video content. It's a social platform as well, and it's now the #1 platform in Australia. Key things to remember on social media is to make sure that you are set up as a business account. And like your Google listing, you make sure you've completed all of your business details. It's also important to remember when you're posting on social media that social is social. So don't be too salesy, be informative and useful, add value to your customers through your social activity, but don't always be pushing a sales message down their throat. Another way to grow your digital footprint is to ensure that you get customer feedback through online reviews across a variety of different channels. Most importantly, though, the ones where most of your activity is coming through, but you don't want to neglect other channels as well. So you want to think about where your reviews are coming from, and you might spend a month at a time encouraging customers to write reviews on TripAdvisor, and then another month focusing on getting customers to write reviews on Google, and then spend some time getting them to write reviews on Facebook. Reviews are important as they're a really important way to build trust with your previous and future customers. They act as what we call social proof. We know that 90% of consumers read online reviews before they visit a business, with 88% of them trusting online reviews as much as personal recommendations. 72% of people say that positive reviews make them trust a business more, whilst 86% of people are less likely to purchase or trust a business that has negative reviews online. So it's really important that you monitor your reviews and you're responding to those reviews online as well, both positive and negative. So some ways to deal with negative reviews are to respond promptly, admit your mistake if you have made a mistake, and correct inaccuracies. Write like a person, be really personable, don't write like a corporation. Highlight the strengths of your business and offer restitution if it's warranted. One really important thing to remember when you are responding to reviews, particularly the negative ones online, is that you're replying in a public forum, so everyone is going to see it. So be really careful about how you craft that response. So another way to extend your reach is through those online booking sites. So think about booking.com or Expedia for accommodation, Red Balloon or adrenaline.com for experiences, The Fork, Google Reserve, and Menulog and Uber Eats for restaurants and cafes. These are all different booking sites, and they can have dual benefits for your business. They can drive direct bookings, which is great. You'll have to pay a commission for them, but that's a marketing cost that you only pay when you actually get a booking. They also provide what we call a billboard effect, and they give you exposure by having that listing on their sites. Think back to the research stage where customers are looking across multiple different sites. And when you book a hotel, quite often what I do, I know, is to research online, and I'll start with booking.com and Expedia perhaps to look at the range of different accommodations that are available in an area, to check availability and rates, and then go to the accommodation provider directly and book directly. So these booking platforms have big marketing budgets behind them, and they use a lot of big fancy data science to get seen by customers. So by listing on these platforms, you can benefit from their multi-million-dollar marketing budgets and build awareness of your business. So I know that's a lot of stuff to cover in a very short period of time. So let's quickly recap what we've talked about today. Customers are all over the internet. They know how to use it and they're using it more and more. Mobile is their preferred device as well. Your website should be the home base. So make it a home that you're really, really proud of. And importantly, there's 5 things that you should be getting for your online footprint. You need to get optimized. So think about SEO at every point. Use those keywords in your listings on your website and in everything that you're posting online. Get listed. So get on Google. Your Google listing is super important. Claim it, complete it, update it, and keep posting to it as well. Social, use the platforms that your customers are using and get social. Start talking to them in that space. Get reviews. So provide your customers with great service and then ask for and monitor your reviews that you're receiving. And finally, get booking. So if it's right for your business, list with the different booking sites that are available. I know how overwhelming this can all be. It takes time and it's an ongoing process with lots of different moving parts. The most important thing to remember is that you don't have to do all of this at once. Just do it one step at a time. Start by carving out just an hour a week to work on one thing and then break it down into small tasks and keep working at it. So that's it from me. Tomorrow morning, we'll be sending a follow-up email to you with all the related materials so you can take these learnings and apply them to your business, one step at a time, of course. Feel free to forward that email to other business owners that you think might benefit from this information. So we've got a couple of questions that's been submitted by our audience. Fed, what have we got?
Thanks, Naomi. First question is there any way to find out the keywords that are working the best?
Yeah, there is. There's a number of different tools that are available and free online as well. So Google Trends and Google AdWords are some key ones. And it's free to access and research your keywords through those tools. When you're doing that, don't only consider the keywords that are getting a lot of hits. Look into what we call the long tail keywords. So there's the really popular words like, say, accommodation, but there's long tail keywords or phrases that are perfect for really niche customers. So it could be accommodation, that's wheelchair accessible, for example, looking at some longer tail keywords and use those as well.
Yep. Next question is, what are the bare minimum channels a business should have?
Yep. Well, that really depends on the business itself and who your customers are. But I'll say as a bare minimum, you need to have a website. You need to have that home base. It doesn't need to be a complicated website. It could just be a simple, basic informational fact page type website. So you need to have a website, and also then the Google My Business listing as well would be the key things.
Yeah, thanks. And the last question, how can businesses make sure they have a great mobile experience?
Yep. This one is really, really important. The first thing to do is to Google the Google Mobile Responsive Website Check. So if you just type that into the Google search bar, and it'll be in our resources we send out too, that will actually do a check for you and tell you how mobile responsive your website is and where you need to improve. Most websites these days are built to be mobile friendly and they're built mobile first, but it's really good just to do that digital health check for yourself. Even just pick up your mobile phone and go to your website and use that as a way to test it out as well and see how easy it is to navigate yourself. Give it a test.
Thanks, Naomi. Is
that all we've got?
Yep.
Great. Excellent. Well, thank you, everyone. That's a wrap for today. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to get in touch if you've got any questions. You can do that via the email address on the screen there. Thanks again for your time to join us, and have a great day.